Hi, my name is Angela, and I wanted to go over a few packages that I use. The first one is bbolt, and it sort of takes after what was a prior project called boltdb. But this boltdb is sort of no longer maintained, so bbolt sort of carried the torch forward and are still maintaining it. In order to install it, you just run this command. First, you create a golang file. Run go mod tidy, and then you would just install it. In order to use it, you could take their example and then just run the file. Oh, yeah, I get rid of the dots. And this creates the database file. So, okay, you have this database file, now what? They go through all the different commands that you can do in order to save stuff or create new buckets or whatever, which is neat and good. Some of it's a little confusing in that you can't always run what you want when you want. That was a little confusing-ish, sort of. And also learning key value only gets stored in each bucket. And so that was a little different. One thing that helped me out a lot, though, in understanding it was this package, this kval. And let's see. This boltdb1 or whatever it is really helped me kind of understand what was going on and sort of how to create my own functions with it. And I believe language is basically the guy who created it. It's his own specification for it. Don't know if there's only contributor, but he's one of them, I guess. But he made an entire like language, and so basically how it goes is you have the first part, which is like select or insert or delete or whatever in SQL sort of. He basically explains all this, and then he basically wants you to state your first bucket, which is like a table in MySQL, and you could dig down to more embedded buckets, and then you would use these in order to get to your key value or just your key. And these are insert, get, check existence, delete, rename, so on and so forth. He basically describes them all right here. And why would you use a language on top of this? You know, all this stuff to go around a database? Because you can make some really nice, neat stuff without having to worry too much about getting too complicated with things. And to me, that was really useful. The only issue I had was how do you look at the data of the database without just continually running through everything? And that's when I came across this third package from this guy, probably gonna butcher his name, Hazad? Has it? Um, Called valter. And I believe this is described in the bbolt list of all these things people have made off this database, which is really amazing. Um, really amazing. I haven't even looked through them all. I'm sure there's a lot of ones that are this bolt hold, which seems pretty cool, or session store. It's pretty cool. Anyways, Ooh, a web-based GUI. That one I definitely gotta check out. Anyways, this valter is basically a terminal way of looking at the data, and it just kind of spits out all the tables and everything, which is neat. So in order to install this kval one, um, he kind of goes into, let's see, where's the thing for it? Right here. So you run go get my pay. So you just take his first thing just like you did in the bbolt one. So you change this to my and he sort of has some kind of going on here with the first bucket and then the second bucket and then your key value, and then it's going to complain that you have to do something about, with this. You could always do, I guess you can't. You would have to do fmt print list. Sure, that doesn't complain. So then you'd run your file then. Manual pay go my vendor. That pulls down everything. Let's just run this to make sure everything's all up and up. There you go, run. Okay. Now it saved the data, but then it kind of spits out all this binary stuff. It's because the key value storage saves everything into like this binary, which is the database. So if you try and open it up, it kind of says good luck. How do you look at the data? Well, that's what that other package was for, that valter. And basically what I did was I took out, because it looked like it was just all one file, which it basically is, all this. And you just take it and go into here, you create a folder called B, file, go, put it in there. Pretty sure you gotta install these. So you go get that, go get that, and then you gotta go into B. Okay, let's run here. Build go my vendor. See if it'll run. Yeah, so it did. So in order to use it, let's say we want to find wherever it is that this created. So you have to do go build. I guess that doesn't play there. Go run b.go, and then you do dash dash file, and then you go to the database file. We had to do that dot. Because you gotta get out of the folder. Run it and see, there's the bucket you made. And then it asks you, do you want to look in that bucket? You type out the bucket name. There's the key, and there's no value that's stored in there. So that's sort of how you do that, which is nice. See, it kind of gives you options to quit or to go back, whatever it is. The thing is, you can't run this while you're running the system. That's the only problem with it. Because that kind of locks the file down. Anyways, for like a standard desktop application, I think this is really nice. Because then you can just drop off someone the binary file and they have a database and everything stored in there for them, so that you don't necessarily have to have them set up a whole database system and everything like that in order to use your app. But yeah, so what did I do with this? I basically built a bunch of functions, and so like let's say this one, insert value key. So instead of doing like all this stuff, I don't necessarily have to do that. You do got to enter in the bucket that you used. So test bucket 1, and then you enter in the key and value you're going to save into it. Let's say fish chips. Okay. Oh, and this is also the internal bucket. Oh yeah, inner bucket. So this is, I guess, more for some if you were to have an embedded bucket inside of a bucket. So let's actually use this one. Okay. This is just insert key value. Oh yeah, you also have to change the database. So this would be my DB. Okay, let's another one that's not inside B. Go run. Let's run the files. Okay, it should have run it. So then let's look into our other one. Let's go back to B. Let's run, and it looks. Let's test bucket 1. There it is, fish chips. I'll leave a link to all this and all the functions I made for this. It's kind of, like I said, really nice for creating a whole bunch of stuff that you think you might need. See, add bucket in bucket, sort of kind of explanatory. So when you do this, I'll get out of that. You go to this one. Yeah, we need to actually make a bucket in a bucket. So this one was test bucket 1, and that OB is original bucket, NB is new bucket. So we make the new bucket is fishes. So we go back, we run the command. Oh, I did not change the database. Kind of need to do that. I created a database. Anyways, let's run it. Should have ran. Go back. Run that. And let's go into this bucket and see if there's an embedded one. There it is, fishes right here. So that's really nice. Um, and you could then start adding values, like I said, with the other function that I originally copy pasted in here to add values in the embedded bucket and so forth. It's sort of kind of a way to make pseudo relation kind of, but the syntax is really easy. Um, he explains it all. Getting the data is really easy. Yeah, I just found it really useful. All three of those packages, and like I said, he describes a whole bunch more. I only looked at like two of them, so I'm sure there's stuff that's utterly amazing on here that I want to dig into to be really helpful. The other neat thing that I thought was really nice was the language guy used GPL 3.0, which I thought was a good, was a good new one. It's good props for that. It basically just means you have to provide your source code if you're going to use this in your server. Well, I don't know if you have to provide yours or just his. I'm not too sure. You'd have to read through it, but you know, that's basically bbolt, valter, and then kval thing that has kind of its own language thing for it. Um, yeah. So if you have any questions or anything, please let me know. Um, okay. Please have a good night.